Right. Today is pulley day. And what I did is I ordered some pulleys from a company called VRP out of Colorado Springs. Let's see if I've got the box somewhere in here. Yeah, I'm sure I do. I just don't know where it is. So they make these fine machined pulleys. Now I need to replace the pulley off of the tensioner pulley that runs the Supercharger belt. And this pulley sits approximately, a little hard to do with one hand. It sits approximately here. Now, one of the complaints about these pulleys is that many of them are plastic. For example, this one here, the idler pulley, is all plastic. And this pulley here, which is off the tensioner down here, is all plastic. So I love plastic, don't get me wrong. Everybody loves plastic. Our whole lives are revolving around plastic. And then if you look at the belt for the Supercharger pulley and the second belt for the accessory pulley, this one's plastic. This one isn't. Now the challenge with plastic is they can disintegrate at a moment's notice. And obviously you don't want a pulley like this. It's got almost 22 years and 100,000 miles on it to suddenly disintegrate while you're romping and stomping on this thing and have things go terribly wrong. You can imagine how all this broken plastic plus a belt losing control and wrapping around everything would make for a really bad day. So VRP, Victory Racing Performance, out of Colorado, sells these kits. Now, for example, this one fits on top of the Supercharger tensioner. And it looks nicely made. Like I said, it's dimensionally right. The bearings are nice and smooth. They're high quality. So if let's go, it's going to be a cold day and you know where. So the plan is to document where all these pulleys went and then replace the pulleys onto the parts in the car. And we'll go from there. And I think that'll turn out well. I do have a few questions though for VRP. You'll notice that these pulleys, here's the bolt, have these dished washers. And the purpose of the dished washers, as you can see how it's dished, is to contact that bearing. And then it hooks onto the outside here and provides a very stable reference point. And then you run the bolt through. So that helps center it, and then this backside of the bearing presses against down there, for example, and see how it centers. Well, that's nice because it keeps things positioned. Well, these don't work on the VRP items from what I can tell. Yes, they don't. See how this fits over it and encapsulates it? This doesn't. It sort of sits on it and twists. This one sits nice and firm so that this part here, let me point it out, sits in this hole, and this area here goes up against the bearing. You can see how it matches. You can see how this clear here, and there's the bearing. So clearly it sits like that and gives a good, firm, steady base. From what I can tell here, see, this area is too wide. The diameter is too wide for this to sit. So it appears what VRP has done is they've sent you this little washer, which when it's tightened in with the bolt, will center it in. Does the same thing. Well, the only problem with my kit is it looks like I need at least 3 of these pairs, because if you place this on the holder, it rubs against the backside. You can feel it. So it needs a bit of a spacer. And that washer, of which I have 1 of 3, fits back here, provides the spacing. Now I've got to call into VRP. We'll see what happens. They did send me this. I have no idea what that's for. It almost looks like it was just sort of an afterthought. And we'll get rid of that. Overall, I like them. These are going to be really nice because, as I pointed out here, you've got the plastic and the metal. Well, this is all metal. And they're the right width. They're for the belt, the rib parts. You take this plastic cap off, which I've taken off partially. You can see how it's asymmetric. And then you pull it out. I assume there's going to be a Torx. Now the question is, will I require the same sort of shims that I require on all of them? I'm going to guess yes. I'm just guessing. I haven't done it yet. I will take it apart. I've got to call into, like I said, into VRP saying where are the other shims, or am I missing something? Is there an installation piece that I don't understand? That may be why that is ribbed so far. Let's see. Yeah, who knows? I'll find out. As always, putting aftermarket parts on a car, even as nicely made as these are, always has a bit of a fitment issue, which is you would expect. I mean, these are not original equipment. So I will, excuse me, I will check out with them how it's supposed to be done. There are no directions. They said it was a direct bolt-on, and it is. For an accomplished mechanic, it's a direct bolt-on, I'm sure. And I may be overthinking it. Nothing new there. So we'll see how it goes. I'll talk to you later. Oh, God, I hope you're having a wonderful day. It's gone back down to 18 degrees. Today is Groundhog Day, and apparently that little groundhog in Puxatawny, Pennsylvania, saw its shadow. So guess what? It's going to be another 6 weeks of winter. I think it was going to be another 6 weeks of winter no matter what we did. Bye. All right. It's still the same day. It's February 2nd, Groundhog Day. And now I'm going to be examining the water pump. So the water pump goes right here. I've already loosened the 10 millimeter bolts right here, 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 and here that take this pulley housing off. It's very easy to do. It's not hard to do. But also I don't have my cooling fan in, so I imagine that makes it much easier. So take that out, and I have a new water pump. Now, I don't have any problems with the old water pump. Don't get me wrong. The shaft is strong. It's not shaking. Well, it moves a little bit, and I've never compared it to the new one. I can't imagine it's all that much different. Oh, the new one's nice and solid. What am I saying? This one's actually got a little shake to it. Oh yeah, just subtle, but it's there. So the point is, since I'm taking all of this out, I'm going to do the timing chain guides. The old philosophy is, while I'm there, I might as well do it. So I'm going to change the water pump. Because imagine the water pump self-destructing. Once again, you don't want it self-destructing in an engine like this. Been lucky enough to have the car survive this long. So we're going to change the water pump. As always, I've never done a water pump. So here's a brand new water pump. And it was suggested to me that I take a piece of cardboard and trace out all the holes that are on this water pump. Many of the holes are not used, but I don't know that yet. For example, this hole actually supports this double pulley. And you see these two bolts here? They support here, let's see. Well, I found them earlier, but they support, you can see there's screws in there, and that's where these go. They go here and here. Those are those two, at least I think they are. Oh God, you gotta love doing the work that I do. And that's where the pulley adjuster goes. And let's see if I can get it to fit on. But it goes something, it goes like this. So you see how it goes on? And that's where that piece goes. And by the way, I've got the new pulley on. Oh, it's so nice. It's so smooth and it's so tight. So the plan is, when you're removing the bolts off the water pump, and you do this with the timing chain cover as well, but I'm going to practice on the water pump, is that you can do a couple of things. You can put the bolts back in the water pump so that you know where to put them, because some are apparently longer and shorter and all that stuff. Remove the water pump. Now realize my water pump's going to be out for a while because I'm doing the timing chain cover, the timing chain guides, and potentially the timing chain, and that will take me a while. This is not going to be done today. Sorry to disappoint everybody, but this gives me an idea of where they are. So when the time comes and I need to take the bolts and put them back in, I don't want to lose track of where the bolts go. Some people will just put the bolts in like this as they take them out, then put the new water pump in, and then follow the diagram. It's like a paint by numbers for those of you who remember that. And that makes it easier and less time and hassle and screw up for replacing the water pump, because there doesn't appear to be anything easy about Mercedes. Now that's the plan. Now how things turn out, I don't know. We'll see. But here's an example. Here's the cover for the water pump pulley. And I can then take all these nuts, place them gently where they belong. Now this is the new water pump. The old water pump is still in the car. But when the time comes, whether it's a week from now or 2 weeks from now or 3 weeks from now, I don't have to remember where this bolt went. I don't, because it's already there. And I can just pull it out and bada boom, bada bing, have it back in. I'm gonna have to clean up the threads on that one. And then reinstall it, hopefully with less items being lost. At least that's the plan. So it's just an idea. I'm doing this partly so that I can document what I see in the car and what I see on the pump. See, there are the hoses. I have replacement hoses for them. I don't think they need to be replaced. They're pretty soft, they're not hard. I know where all the bolts go. I've already replaced this pulley, which just is an idler pulley for the accessory belt. I'm still waiting on a part to get the accessory belt tensioner pulley finally installed with the new one, which is right here. So the plan is start taking this apart, taking these parts, like I've already done with the pulley cover for the water pump. Then I'll take these idler pulleys and put them where they belong. And I'll just keep taking parts off, nut, bolt, whatever it is, and placing them on the new pump. I will then carefully place the pump in a very nice, safe location where it can be secure for 2 or 3 weeks while I get the timing chain cover done, which will be the next piece. I'll also have to take these valve covers off because obviously doing timing chain requires access to the timing chain up in the valve covers in the heads. So I'll finish the water pump removal today. There'll be some coolant spilling out. I have buckets and pans for that. And then once I get that done, then I'll probably remove the harmonic balancer. I have the tool. Oh man, this thing is a beast. It was expensive too. It's like 180 bucks. And this fits down in here and allows you to secure the crank. You see how it just slips in there? And then you can take the timing chain, the crankshaft bolt out without it moving. And that'll be good. So there are a few more steps to do. I'm obviously not a professional. Keep telling that over and over again, and hopefully my behavior proves that. So harmonic balancer, it'll help with that. I've never done one before. I've been told that you have to get it lined up with some timing marks in order to help with the doing the timing chain. I'll have to research that. Then I'll do the valve cover gaskets, clean them up. I may clean them here locally, or I may go over to a friend's place, Forrest. He's got a professional parts cleaner. Get them all nice and clean. Everything will get cleaned, of course, because should there be a future oil leak, I don't want to be that guy that says, I don't know if that's new oil or old oil or whatever oil. Yes, this is a challenge. I find doing the transmission fluid on the Seville to be much, much easier. But it's always the fear of the unknown. You can see I've got the cardboard here to protect the radiator. All it takes is one slip, and then I get to pull this whole front end off, replace the radiator. Not my day of a good time. I will have to do it eventually. So we're making real good progress. It may be a while before I have the water pump out, but that's why this is being done in the winter with no hurries, with no worries. Now, clearly, just so everybody knows, car number 2 is also going to get the same treatment. This is sort of my practice. These things are twins. They're built within 3 months of each other. They have essentially the same spec, engine, all that other good stuff. I've never even checked. Oh, the wheels are even the same. Oh, that's great. Now, originally, this was supposed to be the parts car for that. But this car runs really, really well. So I thought, I might as well learn, practice on this one, get real comfortable with what I'm doing, then work on that one, and then I'll have a really nicely running parts car. They may never need parts. It may be 10 years from now, I can still get some obscure part for both cars, so I don't have to sacrifice the integrity of one to preserve the other. But that's the plan. I will talk to you later. I hope you're all having a great day. And I love you, and goodbye. Oh my God, the Germans. I love them and I hate them all in the same breath. They're incredible engineers, don't get me wrong. They make some really fine cars. And I know what frustrating to work on is because I have a North Star. And anybody who works on cars knows that North Stars are the pinnacle of insanity. I'm here to tell you that the water pump on a 2003 S55 AMG may be the pinnacle of insanity. Why do I ask that? Because there are so many bolts to be removed of different lengths and different sizes that it's enough to make you cray-cray. And since I've never done a water pump, I had no idea how easy or how hard it would be to come out. So I'm taking the crowbar and gently torquing on the water pump, and it won't come loose. And I didn't know if it was because it was stuck on with age or if it was stuck on because there's a bolt. Well, I discovered there were 4 more bolts. So let's go through these bolts. This one holds into the alternator. Big deal. This one goes right there. Then we have, obviously, this is for the tensioner of the supercharger. Then we have a little bolt there. Look at how tiny this little bolt is. And then we have one here. And then we have one here. Then we have one here, 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 and here. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17 bolts. And I'm not counting these two because it just holds it onto the water pump, that hold this water pump onto the front of this car, this Mercedes. And they're hidden in all these little spots. And notice how this is a Torx, this is an E-Torx, and some of them are different sizes. So the maintenance on a Mercedes is expensive because you have to be a fanatic to work on these cars. Now, in my case, I'm not a fanatic, but I am patient. And I do things predictably. God, I guess I wonder if I should refer to the 4 bolts on the face. Well, those technically don't hold it in. So it's been insane. I'm officially done for the night. I'm going to go take a break. Because as I was trying to take this thing out, I suddenly realized, my God, this is way harder than it looks. Now, I have been rewarded by the fact that the old water pump, although it was not leaking, clearly the shaft had some looseness. A little hard to tell. And then you can hear where the pump is scraping against the water pump. Now, it's not really bad, but there are some, you can tell that it's been abraded. So I'm sure I would have gotten a lot more mileage out of this water pump. But when it, oh God, yeah, it shakes. Yeah. And so it's starting to wobble. It's starting to cut the surface here on the pump. So it was the beginning of the death spiral. So I am very lucky that I chose to replace this water pump. So my guess, 100,000 miles, you should probably change the water pump. There may be something in the Mercedes manual that says you change it at 80 or 60. I know the BMWs see radiators, water pumps, and thermostats as a serviceable item. I think it's 60,000 miles. I guess I shouldn't be surprised that a Mercedes should have the same insanity. But it made progress. Now is the time to start to clean things up because clearly there are leaking valve cover gaskets and breather gaskets. These are the breathers. These are the valve covers. You can see all the oil that's come down here and slowly made its way down. I'm going to have to ask somebody what it costs to get a water pump done on one of these cars. I suspect it's expensive. I mean, I'd be surprised if it wasn't. All the stuff you have to take off. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to slowly clean up all this schmutz. Oh, I may not have to. That is the timing plate, timing chain cover. I may not have to do it. I may just ignore it. But I've definitely got some more work to do. Looking forward to it, as you can imagine. I'm going to take some more of this off and the timing chain covers and the harmonic balancer. And you can see all these numbers on it here, which obviously have to do something with timing. But I will relax and reflect upon it and realize that I've accomplished a lot today. And that's all that matters. So if all of you have accomplished something today and had fun and been happy, then it's a good day. If you woke up and you weren't having fun and you weren't happy, well, I feel sorry for you. You got to work on it. I know there are days I don't wake up happy, but I always figure out what the hell's going wrong. Let's get her done. So love you all again. I'm done.